You know that moment, right? You're in a tense conversation, maybe things get a little heated, and you say something that lands wrong. And then, poof, the person you're talking to just goes silent. They shut down. It's so frustrating, isn't it? It can feel like they've just slammed a door right in your face. So why does that happen? That's the huge question we're going to unpack here. Because our first instinct is usually to think, they don't care, right? That they're using silence as a weapon to punish us. But psychology actually tells a completely different story, one that's a lot more human. So yeah, let's get into it. From the outside, it's so easy to misread the signals. What we see looks a lot like indifference, or maybe some kind of passive-aggressive anger, or even weakness. But what if that's not what's happening at all? What if what's really going on is an act of self-protection, a sign that someone is completely overwhelmed and they just need to process? That shift in thinking is what we're going to explore. And that brings us to the core idea for this entire explainer. We've got to reframe how we see this. We have to stop seeing that silence as a wall built to keep us out and start seeing it for what it so often is, a shield. A shield put up to protect something vulnerable inside. There's actually a term for this, emotional self-protection. And it's not really a conscious choice. It's a deep, brain-based response. See, if your past experiences have taught you that sharing your pain only leads to more pain, that you'll be ignored or dismissed or even punished for it, your brain learns a very simple lesson. It's just safer to be quiet. This quote just nails it. Their silence is a shield, not a lack of emotion. This is so key. It's not about an absence of feeling. Actually, it's the exact opposite. The silence is there because the feelings are so huge and so raw that they have to be shielded from any more blows. Okay, so what are the actual reasons someone puts up this shield? We're going to peel back the 6 main psychological layers behind this silent protection. And, understanding these can totally change how you see these moments. So here's our roadmap. We'll start with how silence is used to just plain avoid more pain. Then we'll get into what happens when someone is just flooded with words. We'll look at the impact of always being unheard and the fear of making things worse. And finally, we'll talk about the need to process things internally and how a quiet outside can hide a storm inside. Let's jump into that first one. All right, reason number 1, and this is the big one. Silence is a defense mechanism. Simple as that. For some people, being vulnerable has always been risky. Imagine if every time you tried to say, hey, that hurt, you were met with something that just made it worse. Well, eventually your brain learns that speaking up is a gamble you're going to lose. And this is the perfect way to picture it. It's not some calculated, aggressive thing. It's a pure, gut-level retreat to safety. When a turtle feels danger, it doesn't stand there and think about it. It just pulls into its shell. For some people, emotional pain is that danger. And silence? Well, that's their shell. Okay, reason number 2. They're not quiet because they have nothing to say. They're quiet because they have too much to say. The emotion is just so massive, so intense, that it's like a tidal wave flooding their brain. Trying to put words to that chaos feels completely impossible. Think about it like this. That intense feeling is an emotional power surge. It's so strong, it just shorts the circuit between their heart and their mouth. The line goes dead. There's nothing but static. All they can do is wait for the system to reboot before they can find the words again. Number 3 is all about their history. I mean, if you've spent years, maybe your whole life, trying to share how you feel, only to be dismissed or ignored, you eventually learn a really painful lesson. Speaking up is pointless. So in this case, the silence isn't anger. It's just resignation. It's the sheer exhaustion of trying so hard and never, ever being understood. And the broken doorbell analogy is just perfect. If you ring it again and again and again and nobody ever answers, what do? You stop ringing. You figure it's broken or nobody's home. That's exactly the feeling. Why keep talking if you've learned from experience that no one's listening? So reason number 4 is actually kind of responsible when you think about it. Sometimes silence is an act of self-control. When a person is really, really hurt, they know their words can come out like daggers. They go silent because they are terrified of escalating things and causing damage they can't take back. They would rather say nothing at all than say the absolute wrong thing. It's like they feel like they're walking on a verbal tightrope over a canyon. The emotional winds are howling, and every single word is a risky step. In a situation like that, just standing still being silent feels a whole lot safer than taking another step and falling into a pit of regret. Fifth, and this is important, not everybody processes things out loud. For a lot of people, emotions are an inside job first. They have to go inward, be alone with their thoughts, kind of sort things out and understand what's happening inside them before they can even think about explaining it to someone else. I love this analogy. It's like their mind has to run a full background check on a feeling. It has to verify the facts, figure out where it came from, see if it's valid, all before it's willing to release an official report. That silence isn't emptiness, it's the investigation in progress. And finally, number 6. This one is so critical to get. Just because someone looks calm and quiet on the outside does not, I repeat, does not mean they're not feeling anything. In fact, that stillness can be a sign that they're feeling things so intensely, they are using every ounce of energy they have just to hold it all together. The image of a deep, quiet lake is just perfect. You can look at the surface and see this beautiful, glassy calm, but you have no idea about the powerful currents moving deep underneath. That quiet exterior is often hiding a massive amount of emotional depth and force. So after going through all 6 of these layers, what do we do with this? How does this change things? Well, honestly, it changes everything. It moves us away from judgment and towards curiosity. It helps us see past the quiet and see the person instead. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that silence isn't empty space. It's full. It's full of feeling. It's a protective shield that's been learned over time, not an attack. It's a giant flashing sign that says, I am overwhelmed. And the second you start to see the shield instead of the wall, everything changes. You stop trying to break it down, and you start trying to make the person behind it feel safe. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. It's such a simple shift in perspective, but it can literally transform a moment of conflict into a moment of connection. So the next time you face that silence, what are you going to choose to see? A wall that's meant to shut you out? Or a person who's just trying to